Good morning.
I'm not sure who ordered such phenomenal weather, but kudos to them. This is late September. This is really not supposed to happen, but we're certainly glad it did. So I'd like to give at the front end, because I often forget, but I want to give a special thanks to the hosts for Birchmont Garage, Pamela Watson, Andrew Piggott. Pamela, where are you? There you are. And Andrew? Is Andrew here?
In the back.
In the back, way back? There you go. Great. These events take a lot of work, and these folks are co-hosting, so thank you very much for that. Before we begin, I'd like to turn over the MC role to Shabnam, who will come in and do a safety briefing for everyone and an acknowledgement.
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to begin with the land acknowledgement. The land we are standing on today is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13, signed with the Mississaugas of the Credit, and the Williams Treaty, signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands. Before we continue with today's announcement, I just want to take a brief moment to discuss safety here. As you all know, safety is a top priority for the TTC. I want to remind everybody that this is an active work site, so please adhere to our safety protocols. And we also have many safety personnel here today. You can identify them by their high visibility gear. Please feel free to reach out to them if you have any questions or concerns. Thank you.
Thanks, Shabnam. I'd like to introduce the folks on this side of the microphone. First of all, I'd like to introduce Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Chrystia Freeland.
Hi, good morning.
Minister of Crown-Indigenous Relations, Gary Anandasangaree. And there's more. MP for Beaches, East York.
Not here.
Not here?
Not here.
So fast to introduce. Okay. MP for Scarborough, Guildwood, John McKay.
He's
right
here.
MP for Scarborough, Agincourt, Jean Yip. Here. TTC Chair, Jamaal Myers. Where are you, Jamaal? Very good. Mayor of the great city of Toronto, Olivia Chow. Yep. And Councillor Parthi Kandaval for Scarborough Southwest.
Welcome. Welcome.
If you see any of us kind of dodging like this, that's a wasp, okay? They're trying to get to the microphone.
Don't eat it.
Yeah. So we also have in the audience Christian Maisonneuve. He's VP of Services, and Christophe Trembecki. These folks are from Novabus.
Okay.
Are we seeing them?
Oui,
Yeah,
merci
over there.
beaucoup.
Great. Okay. So very pleased to be here today. We welcome these two battery electric buses to the TTC. Behind us, we'll do a photo op thereafter, and we can go on board if we would like. So these buses are the first of 340 buses to be received from a joint investment of $700 million from the federal government and the City of Toronto. We're very grateful for the support of the federal and municipal governments as we work towards TTC's zero emission target of 2040. That's not that far away. So this is great. TTC continues to be a leader in transit innovation, sustainability, and green initiatives. When you choose transit, you're choosing a greener Toronto. Transit is accessible, affordable, available to everyone, and promotes the most efficient use of the city's shared resources and spaces. Did you know, for example, that one full city bus translates into 70 fewer single occupancy cars on our highways? That's a big deal. So our mission, and I was going to do the Mission Impossible thing about should we choose to accept it, but we have already chosen to accept it, to make TTC even cleaner and greener, the choice for both. And that's why we're here today. With this, I'm going to turn over the mic to Minister Gary Anandasangaree. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Greg, for the warm welcome here today. And let me start by acknowledging that we're gathered here on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabeg, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. And as we start our journey towards National Day for Truth and Reconciliation on Monday, let's all take a moment to honor those who survived residential schools, the sad legacy of residential schools in Canada, and all those who are impacted through intergenerational trauma and through other forms of discrimination. It is a very somber moment for us, and I think we should take this time to reflect on our historical responsibility toward reconciliation. This morning I had the pleasure of being with Mayor Chow at the sunrise ceremony, as well as the beginning of a 4-day commemoration at City Hall. So thank you, Mayor Chow, for being there. I am, of course, excited to be here with my colleague, the Honorable Chrystia Freeland, Deputy Prime Minister, as well as the Minister of Finance, thank you, as well as our Scarborough colleagues, Jean Yip, the Member of Parliament for Scarborough Agincourt, and the Honorable John McKay, who is the MP for Scarborough Guildwood. I am so fortunate to have council colleagues who represent Scarborough, including the local member for Scarborough Southwest, Parthi Kandavel, as well as Jamaal Myers, who has been fighting for Scarborough and as a result has broken his arm, is what I'm told. But there's probably another story behind it. So thank you, Jamaal, for the work that you do. Public transit is a lifeline for many Canadians. It connects us easily and affordably to work, school, home, and community, reducing traffic and environmental impact. And many years ago, I lived not too far from here, and public transit was something I used each and every day. The bus was a lifeline for me when I was young, going to my part-time job as well as to school. And to many in our communities today, the TTC is an essential part of our life. Last year, the federal government announced an investment of nearly $350 million to buy 340 new electric buses and upgrade maintenance and storage facilities to install 248 chargers. This is a huge project that by early 2026 will substantially increase the size of Toronto's zero-emission transit fleet. The 2 buses behind me today are just the beginning. They are the first of many new electric buses coming to Toronto, and they will hit the road right after this event. Zero-emission buses are revolutionizing urban transit. By dramatically cutting air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions, these innovative vehicles make our streets healthier and safer for everyone. They operate quietly, minimizing noise pollution and enhancing overall quality of life for residents. On the economic front, they offer significant savings with lower operating costs. And because these buses are proudly made right here in Canada, we're actively supporting local manufacturing and good paying jobs. Embracing zero-emission buses not only transforms public transit, but also positions our communities as trailblazers in sustainability, attracting residents and businesses eager to be part of a cleaner, brighter tomorrow. As we celebrate the launch of these sustainable buses, I want to highlight the value of this partnership in making this project a reality. The leadership and commitment of the TTC and the city building a cleaner and more affordable Toronto, not just for today, but for future generations. With a growing population, it is more important than ever that we build the right infrastructure now to create a prosperous and sustainable future for all. And as a Scarborough MP, let me just say the investments that we've made in Scarborough, including the support for the Scarborough subway extension, is a critical part of the work that we've been doing with the city as well as the province. So thank you, Mayor Chow, as well as councillors, for your work in supporting not just electric vehicles, but also Scarborough Transit as a whole. So I'm so thrilled to welcome the first 2 electric vehicles to our city. And as more roll out on streets over the coming months, so that Torontonians can enjoy a quieter, cleaner, and more sustainable experience on the TTC. With that, I'm absolutely delighted to welcome a good friend back to Scarborough, the Honourable Chrystia Freeland, the Deputy Prime Minister of Canada, as well as the Minister of Finance.
Thanks, Gary.
Okay, I love doing events with all of my colleagues here, and I want to say it's great doing an event with the mayor because we have the physical setup designed for people of an appropriate height. It's not always the case. Okay, so we are here with Team Scarborough, with 3 outstanding Scarborough MPs, Gary, John, and Jean. And I want to say to everyone here in Scarborough, they love this amazing community. They are really invincible when it comes to fighting for Scarborough. As Gary said, I've been here a lot, and that's because I know when these guys tell me to do something for Scarborough, really resistance is futile. It's true. And it's really great to have 2 great Scarborough city councillors, Jamaal and Party. And as I said, wonderful to be here with the mayor. Today's announcement is really what happens when different levels of government, when the city and the federal government work together for the people who we represent. Every single elected person here is elected by people in Toronto to represent them. And I think we're also glad to be coming together to talk about something that we're doing together to make life better for people here. I want to start by talking just for a minute about some good economic news we've been having in Canada in recent weeks. Inflation in August was 2%. That's a bullseye right in the middle of the Bank of Canada's target range for inflation. And in fact, inflation has been within the Bank of Canada's target range all of this year. We have now had 3 interest rate cuts. Canada was the first G7 country to cut interest rates for the first time. We were the first G7 country to cut interest rates for the second time. And we were the first G7 country to cut interest rates for the 3rd time. That is real relief for Canadians. Wages have outpaced inflation for the past 19 months in a row. We have also, over the past 2 weeks, seen some real progress on mortgages and on housing affordability. Our government has announced that we will be raising the level for insured mortgages from $1 million to $1.5 million, really relevant in a city like Toronto, and increasing the amortization for first-time home buyers and for people buying a newly built home to 30 years. Now, what that means practically is you're going to be able to, if you are a first-time home buyer, if you're buying a newly built home, you're going to be able to do that with a lower down payment, and you're going to have lower payments every single month, because we know how important it is that the dream of home ownership needs to remain in reach for people living in this amazing city. And then we had some more good news for people with mortgages. And that is the announcement by OSFI this week that if you already have a mortgage and you are renewing it and it is an uninsured mortgage, you do not have to re-qualify with a stress test to switch banks upon renewal. That's a really big deal. It is going to give people who see a renewal up ahead and are worried about it. It's going to give people some real choice, some real options. If you have an insured mortgage, it is already the case that you don't need to re-qualify with a stress test upon renewal. You can look around for the best deal you can get. So that's some really good news for Canadians. It's some really good news for the people of Toronto. Je suis vraiment contente que l'inflation était à 2% en août, que pour les huit derniers mois, l'inflation était dans la fourchette cible du Banque du Canada et que déjà pour 3 fois, le Banque du Canada a diminué le taux directeur. Thanks. Thanks, Karthi. So, some good news. And then we have even more good news that we're here to highlight, an announcement about the TTC and electric buses. And I really want to start by thanking all of the people at the TTC who have made this possible, who run this incredibly important transit system every single day. It really is the circulatory system of our city. Yeah, let's give them a hand. And I want to give a special shout out to an amazing guy I met this morning. His name is Tony. He's an electrical technician. He's worked here for 40 years. He's the guy in charge of these amazing charging stations that we are about to see in operation. And he was so proud to tell me about the work that he and his colleagues have done putting this system in place and making this system work. And he also was proud to tell me about his family. He has 3 beautiful daughters and 5 amazing grandchildren. And he does this work so that they can live in an amazing city and to support them and build a wonderful family here. He's been working here for 40 years. Can we give Tony a hand? Yeah, thank you very much, Tony. Okay, so the good news, thanks to the hard work of Tony and his friends and colleagues here, and thanks to investments by the City of Toronto and the Government of Canada, we're making a $700 million joint investment, of which the federal government is contributing half, City of Toronto half, in 340 zero-emission buses and the amazing charging system that we see here behind us. The first 2 vehicles are here today. We're going to get on them and show them off, and I am really looking forward to it. This is so important. This is about providing great transit for people in Toronto. It means you can get to work, you can get to school, you can get to see your friends and have fun. It means doing it in a way that is clean and green. And I'm really glad that there are some people here from Nova, because we're also supporting great jobs in Canada building these amazing buses. Today's investment builds on sustained investment by the federal government in this amazing city, including in public transit. Since 2015, we have invested more than $10 billion, 10.4 to be exact, in public transit in Toronto. We are really, really proud to do that. And we've invested $30 billion in transit projects across the country. We're a growing country, and we need to be investing so people can get around. Alors, ça me fait un tellement grand plaisir d'être ici, de féliciter, de remercier les incroyables gens qui travaillent ici et de célébrer ce qu'on fait ensemble avec la ville de Toronto, avec mes collègues dans notre caucus libéral pour améliorer la vie pour les Canadiens et Canadiennes, pour les Torontoises. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you, Deputy Prime Minister Freeland. I would now like to introduce the Mayor of Toronto, Olivia Chow.
Yay! Thank you.
You managed to bring the sun with you. Thank you, Deputy Prime Minister Freeland. Yes, folks, the green bus has arrived. Zero-emission electric green bus. We're going to get on it. I can't wait, because it's a smooth, quiet ride. You don't have to put gasoline on it. It's cheaper that way. And thank you, Tony, for charging them. And it is the way to go. And it's not just 2. I know right now we only have 2, but we are rolling out another over 300 more. And that is spectacular. Millions of people in Toronto. In fact, every day we know that 2.6 million rides per day at TTC. And yeah, that's a lot of people riding TTC every day, whether they're heading into work, to school, to visit friends, their grandkids, or or just going to a date, a movie, whatever it might be. Let's not make sure don't show up late. So having a reliable public transit, comfortable ride, safe, and getting there on time is really important. And I know Torontonians needs the TTC to be as best as it can be, because we are very committed that TTC is the better way. So having these 2 buses just to get things started on the electric bus is just exciting. And some might say, all right, you have 2. When are you going to get the other 340 battery electric vehicles? We're going to get it by the end of 2026. It's going to roll in, yes! We can't wait to see all of them on the road. And of course, this wouldn't be possible without the team Scarborough. Thank you, ministers, and our Scarborough Member of Parliament. When they say we need something, it happens. And I am always also thankful for Pathy, our councillor, and of course, our Scarborough TDC Chair, Jamaal Myers. Thank you for your leadership of really pushing for more investment in TTC. It is a joint partnership. Things work better when we come together. And we're very grateful for the federal government being able to do a joint investment of $700 million, half each. And maybe we can invite the province to join too. We'll see. And then we can buy even more buses there.
If they added 350.
Then, or they could help us operate these buses, right? We need operators. We need more Tonys to help us charge them, right? So the operating of these buses, let's get more bus drivers and people charging it and servicing and maintaining it, because we are using some of the funds, not just to purchase the bus, but also to update 8 bus garages, because we need charging station. Buy new equipment, install chargers for these new electric buses, and we know the economic benefits of public transit. We also know how much we lose per year because of congestion, $11 billion. So the best way to deal with congestion is to have more public transit, because per bus, think of how many cars. If these folks are not in the bus, it's like, I heard 70 something. Okay, well, maybe half of them would be driving. That's 35 cars that would be on the road without a full bus, right? So it is the other reason why we need to invest in public transit is also the operation piece. We are, in August, we said that we want more service. Having these buses around, but if they don't come often, you can stand there and wait for a long time, right? So we are increasing the service. In August, we said we're hiring 178 more frontline TTC workers to make the system better. We are freezing transit fares so that we keep it affordable. And we are increasing the service so the bus comes more often. Rather than waiting for 15 minutes, in some of the Scarborough routes, you only wait 10, or sometimes even faster. And we want to continue to do the improvement and continue to have the wonderful relationship we have as partners with the federal government, and we're very grateful for their contribution. And also a big thank you to all the TTC workers. You make us proud. All your work, whether you're charging station or driving bus or maintaining the bus and maintaining the subway system, you are the lifeline because you move millions of people every day. And thank you so much. And let us get on that bus soon because I can't wait. Oh, one other thing I just noticed. I noticed that there is a bike rack in front of these buses. So if those of you that are thinking, okay, the bus is going to drop me off at this corner, how am I going to get to that last kilometer? Well, maybe you can have a bike. You can just put it in front of it, and you can then take your bike down and then ride that 5 minutes or even 3 minutes and get to where you're going. You can combine mode so that you can cycle, take GO train, take a bus, take a subway, and get to where you need to go. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Mayor Chow. I'd now like to introduce to you Jamaal Myers. He is chair of the TTC. Jamaal.
Want me to turn your pages for you?
Oh,
Here, do you want me to pick
Got
this
it.
out of the way?
Oh, that would be great. Thank you. Thank you.
That's just to
Thank you, Greg, and thank you, Mayor Chow. I'm also happy to be here as we continue to evolve the TTC's Green Bus program.
I just put that so it wouldn't blow away.
In July 2024, the TTC received its last hybrid electric bus. These two buses are the first battery electric buses to be received as part of the partnership between the federal government and the City of Toronto as we continue to transition to becoming 50% zero emissions by 2030 and 100% zero emissions before 2040. Yeah. Once all 340 vehicles are received, the TTC will have a total e-bus fleet of 400, which will make us by far the largest in North America. The TTC's transition to battery electric vehicles started in 2017. In November 2017, the TTC board approved procurement of 30 all-electric vehicles. In June 2018, the board approved the purchase of 30 more. The initial 60 e-buses were piloted at the TTC, and issues identified during the pilot have been addressed in this new procurement. I just want to say, as chair of the Toronto Accessibility Advisory Committee, I've seen some of the improvements to make the buses better for people with disabilities, to make sure they're accessible. And when you make buses or, the city in general more accessible for people with disabilities, you make it more accessible for people, for everyone. So these new buses have a 30% increase in battery capacity over the first generation e-buses without any increase in weight. They also offer a better driving experience for our operators, better rides for our customers, and improved reliability, availability, and maintenance. And in 2040, your emissions will be reduced by over 97% when you take the TTC. That's even lower than an electric car. Watch out, Telsa. When you take the TTC, you are making a commitment to the environment, to the City of Toronto, and to your neighbors. Today and every day, we are making a commitment to purchase the best available technology and to green our fleet as quickly as we can, while maintaining a reliable service. Vehicle electrification is also a key component of the City of Toronto's Transform TO Climate Action Plan, which targets an 80% reduction in local greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. I want to thank our federal partners, of course, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Chrystia Freeland, MP Gary Anandasangaree, MP Jean Yip, and MP John McKay, and of course the City of Toronto, our amazing Mayor Chow, and of course my amazing colleague Parthy Candival for their support, and I look forward to seeing these buses on our streets. And of course I want to thank our amazing TTC employees who really made this happen. They even brought the sun, so that just goes to show you how amazing these people are. And now I will turn it back to Greg. Thank you.
Thanks, Jamaal. This is a dynamic group of speakers, so I'd like you to give them a round of applause. But before, the reason they're so dynamic is this is a major announcement. This is a game changer for the City of Toronto, for the TTC, and we thank you for all the collaborative efforts that enabled this to happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now so at this point, I would like to invite Jesse Bartzoff from the Deputy Prime Minister's office to come in and get us organized for any media questions. Jesse?
We'll now take questions from media. It'll be one question and one follow-up. Please state your name and media outlet before asking your question using the microphone. C'est une question et un suivi. Veuillez indiquer votre nom et votre média avant de poser votre question. La première question maintenant.
Bonjour, Jérémy Bergeron de Radio-Canada. My first question is for Mayor Chow. My English colleague have obtained a video of a police intervention in which 12 officers are seen punching a suspect. The Toronto Police defend the work of their officer. What do you think of this intervention?
It's hard to watch someone, with a group of officers during a takedown. But because I do not know the origin of the request and I'm not on the scene, I think in these cases it's best to leave it for the investigator to get to the bottom of it. I believe that we need to have a process, and I also don't know the reason why the person was arrested in the first place. So I really cannot go into the details or comment on it. We do have a system where if there's wrongdoing, that if it is a serious event, is the Ontario SIU that would do the investigation, or that the complainant can then file a complaint in the local station, and the investigation would take place. I can comment further when I receive the result of the investigation.
Thank you, merci. C'est maintenant le moment de la partie en français du point de presse avec Mme Freeland. J'ai une question pour vous en français. Devant le président français, justement, hier, votre chef a accusé le premier ministre du Québec, François Legault, de répandre des faussetés sur l'immigration. Est-ce que vous partagez le même avis? Est-ce que le Québec n'a pas certains arguments valides quand il demande de réduire de moitié le nombre d'immigrants temporaires?
Le premier ministre était clair hier et évidemment, je partage son opinion. C'est assez.
Next question.
Good morning, Deputy Prime Minister. Momin Qureshi, 680 News Radio. I'm sure you heard about the grand tunnel idea that was put forth by the Premier earlier this week. It's an ambitious and bold idea, and it's one that would undoubtedly need at least a little, if not a lot, of support from the federal government. It also, I believe, would directly affect part of the city that you represent. So where does the federal government come down on this grand tunnel idea? Would you guys be up for supporting it through dollars and other means?
Well, thanks for the question. The tunnel is a proposal by the Premier, and I think questions about it should be to him. Both the Mayor and I have a really good relationship with the Premier, and I know if he has any ideas that he wants me to get involved in, he'll send me a text, and then we'll give each other a call, and he might even offer me a cigar, although I'm not sure I'll smoke it.
Just a
I
follow.
didn't get an offer.
You didn't get an offer of a
just a
cigar?
couple of
Okay, we'll have to talk about that.
Sorry, Deputy Prime Minister, follow up as well. We're here at the TTC bus yard. The city is currently in the process of ordering those trains for Line 2. The province committed their money a year ago. I can see the mayor's excited. The province committed their money more than a year ago, and I know the city's in the process of applying for it, and hopefully eventually we'll get that money. But the question is, why is it taking so long for something that the city has a ticking clock on? They have to get those orders in by a certain time, and it's really a safety issue at this point.
Thanks for the question. I really want to emphasize two things. One, there is no federal government in Canada's history that has invested as much in transit, in public transit, as our government has done. And that includes massive, historic investments in the city of Toronto. And that is because, we believe what everyone has been saying here today. We understand that public transit is like the circulatory system, the lifeblood of our cities and our communities. We are a growing country, that is great, and we need to have a great transit system so that people can study, work, and play. And that is why we have made and are continuing to make absolutely historic investments. These include the permanent, and this is a new thing in the federal government's investment in public transit. These include $3 billion per year, every single year, in the fiscal framework as far as the eye can see, investing in funding for Canada's cities, including, of course, our biggest city, Toronto. So that's my first point. My second point is, as you see here today, as you have seen in project after project after project, in announcement after announcement after announcement, we have a great relationship with the people elected to serve and represent the City of Toronto, starting with Mayor Chow, including the great councillors you see here and many other great councillors. And we're going to keep on working for this great city to be sure the people of Toronto have the public transit they need.
Next question.
Clara Pasica, CBC. My question is also for the Deputy Prime Minister. Just to follow up on that, I mean, those things you're saying are great, but we attend a lot of press conferences with Mayor Chow, and she brings up this point many times. She's also been heavily hounding your government for about a year on it. So can we have a date of when there's going to be a yes or no that the people of Line 2 can know, yes, I'm getting new TTC trains?
So I would not describe the mayor as hounding anyone.
Okay.
I would say we have a great, extremely collaborative relationship with her and with the City of Toronto. We have made historic, unprecedented investments in this city. We are glad to be doing it. Investing in public transit across the country is an investment in Canadians and in the Canadian economy. Investing in public transit in Toronto is an investment in Canadians and in the Canadian economy. We have done a great deal. We're going to keep on doing it, including money, which is already in the budget, coming to Toronto every single year, and we are in constant conversation with the city about more we can do together.
Any further questions? Ceci conclut la conférence de presse. Merci tout le monde.
Okay, let's get on the buses.